Or from 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear that new Honda manufacturing continues to go up, and you have new Hondas in stock now.
That's correct, Charlie. We have more than 40 new Hondas in stock right now. It's great that a customer can come in and buy a new Honda and drive it home that day. New Honda inventory keeps getting better each month.
Okay, then. How about used cars, Andy?
We have more than 100 pre-owned vehicles to choose from right now, and a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in daily. We have just about every maker model you can imagine in any price range.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine with new technology to make your harvest more efficient, meaning more money in your pocket? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine for harvest. Plus, when you purchase a pre-owned combine from Landmark, you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network, along with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running, reducing downtime. View inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Husker fans, your fourth-ranked Nebraska wrestling team needs you to pack the Bob Devaney Sports Center on Friday, January 12th for their Big Ten home opener and a top 5 matchup against number 2 Iowa. The duel will begin at 6:30, and the first 300 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling shirt. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pearsonell.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pearsonell, but Pearsonell has confidence in Pearsonell.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights, and this is, of course, the Don't Punt Hour with the host, as always, DeMornay Pearsonell on the Allo VIP line. Really understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. DeMornay Pearsonell, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's a pretty exciting day other than the snow.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Rico, who got the new intro music. Great line in there. Not only does the sideline have confidence in DeMornay Pearsonell, DeMornay Pearsonell's got confidence in DeMornay Pearsonell. So we got the new intro music fitting for the Don't Punt Hour. And shout out to our guy Rico for setting that all up. But there's plenty of things to talk about DeMornay Pearsonell. We got great coaches possibly leaving the scene. And, of course, Nebraska basketball finds a way to take down the number one team in the country in Purdue, led by Zach Edey. Where do you want to start first?
It doesn't matter. We can go wherever. I'm open to anything.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into the basketball game, because I think by far, I was talking to Amon Green about this. I think, I got down here in 2018, but even just watching sporting events back home in Harrington go 3 hours up north, this is a Mount Rushmore moment for me in terms of watching any Husker athletics event. I know it's just a regular season game, but I've always been a basketball fan, and I've always really just believed in this team to finally get it turned around. I like the hire of Fred Hoiberg. It took a lot longer than I anticipated, but they're playing really good basketball. They're 11-1 at home. They only got 3 losses on the belt. This is a good basketball team. They're in the top 50 now. Now they're just at a point where they got to continue to win the games they're supposed to win. And if you do have a slip up, it won't be as detrimental as it would have been if you would have possibly lost to a Wisconsin and a Purdue back-to-back. And you'll have a chance to beat up on an Iowa team tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I believe that would be Friday. You have another chance to play Iowa, a team that doesn't play a whole lot of defense. So you should optimistically thinking get another win there. But just initial thoughts on Nebraska finding a way to beat Purdue, and not just through one guy, but multiple players for the roster last night had a story on their own.
I mean, it takes a team effort. It was a night that ended up working in our favor. They took care of business. They handled. They kept him from going off. I think he might have had. I think their center might have had 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Yeah, I think only 15 and 7. So yeah, 15.7 boards.
So, they kept it. They kept the game close, and it was their type of game to win, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah, and I mean, what impressed me the most by this was it didn't seem like Purdue just came in there and wasn't ready to play. I thought Purdue looked fine. I thought they played good basketball. I just thought Nebraska played better. And that gave me a lot of hope, because it's not like they took advantage of a team that just couldn't hit any shot last night. Purdue, they shot 39% from the three-point line, 42% overall field goal percentage, which isn't great, but it's not horrendous either. You can still win games that way, especially if you're shooting it near 40% from the three-point line. But they would take a lot of threes, 13 for 33. And that's where you have to credit Nebraska's defense, because I don't think their game plan was to go in there and chuck a bunch of shots from the three-point line. I think they wanted to use Zach Edey. I believe they probably thought they had a mismatch in Rink Mast and how they're going to be able to take advantage of that. And Rink Mast flipped the script on him. He went at Edey first, often and frequently, right away to get him off his game. A little bit of European style, got him on at one point in time, it looked like he was setting up a dream shake. I was really impressed by Rink Mast attacking the big fella. What did you think about Rink Mast's performance last night? And we'll dive into a few of these players, because, man, it was just a great overall performance.
I said it yesterday. Sometimes you got to go. Sometimes you got to beat it, Billy. Take the fight to them. Often guys like that and everything like that, typically they have their way and they sit back and kind of just, allow the game to come to him and everything like that. He checked his temperature and he brought pressure to him. So, I tip my hat to him. He handled business. He did what he was supposed to do. And, the whole place fed off that energy. I think Mash had, 18 points last night?
Yeah,
so,
he had finished with, let me double check here. I believe it was 18. So, yeah, Rink Mast, he'd finished with 18 points. The second leading scorer would have been Casey Tamanaga with 19.
Okay. So, so he bought, he brought the fight to him. So I mean, and sometimes you have to do that, and it's good to know that he's comfortable and has no problem with doing that for later on down the line.
Yeah, and he took the most shots last night out of all the Huskers, which I think at times surprises people. But Rink Mast is a very integral part of this offense. Even if you think Keisei Tamanaga should get more shots, part of that is just teams are selling out like crazy to avoid giving him any sliver of space, just being aware that he can go off at any moment. But they really set this thing up through Rink Mast and seeing what he can do inside, knowing that you have Keisei Tamanaga roaming around the perimeter, just wreaking havoc, who, by the way, has a nice inside game as well that I think frequently catches people off guard. He knows how to finish among the trees despite being at his size. But just an incredible performance. And Rink Mast kind of one of those games where he was all over the place, not as high on the rebounding totals, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but he did have a steal. But to me, it was just the offense and the composure. No turnovers either. Another thing that I really liked about him, he just played a pretty clean game. 9 turnovers overall for Nebraska basketball. Compare that to Purdue's 14. I mean, this is how you win games. You want to beat teams, you have to clean up in those small areas. There's going to be those categories, those small differentials. Those are ones you got to win. You beat them in the assist battle. You only lose by 4 in the rebounding battle. And that's been, the kryptonite for anyone who places Purdue or faces Purdue is how are we going to rebound the ball against this team of giants when you got a 7-footer starting, you got a 7-footer behind him that could sub in at any moment, as well as some big forwards. But again, you win that battle, 22 assists to their 17. You win the turnover battle, 9 to their 14. And you win the blocks as well. A little surprising stat for Nebraska basketball, 3 to their 2. And then steals. Nebraska, 9 steals to Purdue's 1. Shout out to Sam Hoiberg for a couple of those when we're getting towards ending that first half. Sam Hoiberg's been really good when it comes to those big moments, wrapping it up in tight situations, because at one point in time, Purdue was looking to kind of lock up that first half in a fashion that was a little alarming. It looked like they're starting to stretch out the lead. Here comes Sam Hoiberg, along with other few key players on some big plays, and he gets a couple steals, couple layups out of it. This great finisher when he does get the ball in his hands, and just a really smart player. What are your thoughts on Sam Hoiberg? And just, again, absolute pest on defense. Even when you're not watching him on those highlights where he gets the steals, he's just a great defender all the time. It feels like out there. Very rarely does he oversell, make a mistake.
I feel like every team has that energy type guy who just to change things up, and he's going to be in the right spot, or he'll take the right risk at the right time. And he stepped up big time with on the defensive side of creating those turnovers, starting the fast breaks, and getting into another offensive set on the offensive side. And games like that against higher ranked opponents and whatnot, every shot choice, every offensive possession is going to matter, and you have to take some of those risks to steal the game from the other team. So I mean, he played it to a T. Hopefully he can continue to bring it all year consistently, and I don't think that it won't be uncommon for those bigger games to be closer, or to we walk out of there with a win.
Yep, and that's the defense that we saw so much last year that gave the team a lot of hope. Towards the end of the season, I understand somehow Minnesota has kind of been Nebraska's kryptonite. They beat us last year in the Big Ten tournament, and they beat us again earlier this year. And at one point in time, I think that was scaring a lot of people. It's like, man, we lost to Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's a good team. That's actually looking pretty okay for you too. Minnesota has been on an absolute tear in basketball. They haven't really played anyone great yet. They haven't beaten anyone in the top 50 outside of Nebraska, who is now a top 50 team, but live, they never beat anyone top 50. But Minnesota continues to win, and they have an opportunity to, if they keep playing pretty well, that's not going to look like a bad loss for Nebraska, especially the fact that it came on the road. So again, plenty of more players to talk about. We'll get to a few more of these before we go to our first break. And again, if you guys ever want to join the show, Sarter Heyman text line. That's 402-464-5685. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo, channel 961 on Allo. But let's go through a few more of these guys. Bryce Williams, we didn't even think he was going to play for Nebraska yesterday. He ends up with 30 minutes. Offensively, it wasn't his best game, but he didn't really need to be the most efficient game for him there, because everything else he was doing was what made a huge impact. 2 for 6 from the floor, 1 for 1 on the 3-point line, 4 for 4 on the free throws. Just real quick note, the shot 84% from the free throw line. Again, doing well, knocking down shots on the charity stripe. This is where it gets impressive for me. With that,
11 rebounds.
Yep, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, only 2 turnovers, 9 points. He almost had a triple-double. He didn't even think he was going to play yesterday. And at one point in time, he gets a huge block on Zach Edey after Juwan Gary makes the initial contest. But Bryce Williams, really impressed by his game. When you watch Bryce Williams, I have a hard time trying to figure out what kind of player he is. All I know is I like him, but I don't know what his game is consistently. What do you see in a guy like Bryce Williams, who, again, is a guy, if he doesn't transfer, we'll have him back?
He's a well-rounded guard. He can fit. He's a piece to the puzzle. If it's his night and he got to go off and he has to do the scoring and everything like that, he's comfortable with it. He can create his own shot. Clearly, he's active on the defensive side, which, that's a good thing to see from guards. He can get in there and rebound. So, I like his game a lot. It's nothing but, plus side to him. Hopefully he sticks around. And, hopefully, his role increases and to where he can get, more a set of exactly what, the identity of. I don't think we truly have, it has to flow through this person or more consistent through somebody. It's kind of a team effort. But, there'll be sometimes, in the season to where you have to call upon, certain people, or certain people have to have a big game. He had a big game, with rebounding and on the defensive side, which, I'll take it. So I don't have anything bad to say or negative to say about him at all. I like his game.
Yeah. And, I will say I've been critical of his defense in prior games, but this one, he was all over the place. He did really well, whether he was on ball or off ball, playing help defense, rotating around. Nebraska as a whole, we talked about it the other day. They were getting exposed by doubling the post. A lot of teams were trying to figure out ways to execute the offense and take advantage of Nebraska for wanting to consistently double the center. And Nebraska didn't get away from it. They just got better on rotational defense. And you saw that all night long. I think that's why you see Purdue chuck up 33 3-point shots, because even though we were doubling the post, it was incredibly hard for them to get anything backdoor. Even when they did kick it out to the 3-point line, Nebraska was rotating so well that, yes, they still made about 40%, but Purdue, with how great of a shooting team they are, the 33 threes, that can be ugly quick if you're giving them wide open looks from the 3-point line. And they were all over it throughout the entire game, except towards the end, a little bit of garbage time. That's where Zach Edey got most of his points to get to 15. But nonetheless, defensively, that's another thing that defense carries over. You don't have to worry about getting cold from defense. You need that, especially if you want to make any sort of run in the tournament, which, knock on wood, they're on pace to right now. But it's a great thing to have in your arsenal if you don't have to rely on, like they did last night, you don't have to rely on shooting 61% from 3, which, to be honest, it probably won't happen too much more often. Nebraska, though, I will say this. I think it's about 3 games now where they've averaged over 50% from the floor. So they just got a bunch of weapons. Let's get to 2 more guys here before we go to break. CJ Wilcher, 20 minutes off the bench, 4 for 5 from the field goal, or for field goal percentage, and then 3-point line. He was 3 for 4. Just an all-around solid game for him. Makes all his free throws, going 5 for 5 from the stripe. And he had a big moment, again, kind of talking about that end of that first half where felt like Purdue was getting close. Here comes CJ Wilcher, looked fully comfortable out there. What impressed you about CJ Wilcher last night?
He was comfortable with the shots he was creating and taking. Again, coming off the bench, providing a spark, not letting off or not, letting Purdue back into the game and everything like that. You need games like that. But he was confident, with what he brought to the table. And I felt like that, that was being shown last night or every time he was on the court.
Yeah, and there's a couple of guys in this lineup now with Sam Hoiberg and CJ Wilcher. With CJ Wilcher in particular, I'm really happy that Bryce Williams was able to make it back, because I think CJ Wilcher probably would have taken that starting spot if Williams wasn't able to play. But I think CJ Wilcher's really accepted his role. Like, I think he fully understands that when he comes off the bench, he's looking to cause havoc with fresh legs. And in the past few games, he's really done that. When he comes into the game, his impact is almost immediate. And especially last night, And you're talking about the threes. The threes he was making, they weren't easy. I mean, he had some tough looks at the rim, and they were going in. And you're just talking about that confidence, that energy. And he's really found, I feel like, a strong role coming off the bench, being that strong sixth man that can just set the team on fire in only a couple minutes of play. So shout out to CJ Wilcher for having 16 points in only 20 minutes of game time. Really impressed by him. Last guy, let's get to him before we get out of here. Keisei Tamanaga obviously had a highlight reel in himself. Only 19 points, took only 12 shots, though 5 for 9 from 3. It was over 50% from there. And he's just a guy where if you give him any sort of daylight, he's going to make you pay. What's the ceiling looking like for Keisei Tamanaga? Because he's an interesting guy. They don't run the entire offense through him, which I think really helps them overall and what they can do at multiple angles. But when Keisei Tamanaga gets going, he just looks like one of the hardest players to stop.
I agree with that. And I think, if he's on, I think the team functions differently.
Yes.
They're way more confident. They're more aggressive. They dictate, the pace of the game and everything like that. And it starts with him. He's a high energy guy. And if he's running around and going, and regardless, even if his shots aren't falling, he's still active on defense. But if his shots are going down and he's active on defense, I think it's kind of just follow the leader with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned his defense, because I think most people would look at him and be like, oh man, teams are going to find ways to take advantage of Keisei Tamanaga on the offensive side of the floor. They haven't. Yes, there's been occasional mismatch problems. It's usually just taller players that shoot over him, but they got to have a good shooting night. He's really good, despite his size, at keeping people in front, and he's a small guy. So if you want to run him over, he'll take the charge anytime you give it to him. So
anytime.
Yeah, impressed by him. And then a few more guys. Jamarcus Lawrence, I know it wasn't his best game. 0 for 2, had 0 points, but he's integral. I don't think this team is the same without him. I know he's taking that point guard role. He's kind of trying to stretch it out and learn his game a little bit. He's a younger player, but I want to, still give him his credit, because he only had 1 turnover. You did well to move the ball around. You still got, he only had 1 assist on the night, but the extra pass that he was making wouldn't give him the assist, but allow the next guy to get the assist. So Jamarcus Lawrence, I know stat-wise he's not going to flash for anyone, but I thought he had a great game as well, just being a smart player, kind of Sam Hoiberg-esque, where you're not going to force anything. Well, I'm just going to make sure my guys are set up so they can go ahead and make the play. With that being said, though, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here on this first segment with the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pearsonell on the Allo VIP line. A couple more segments up next. Don't go anywhere.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks, exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Ready to upgrade your combine with new technology to make your harvest more efficient, meaning more money in your pocket? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine for harvest. Plus, when you purchase a pre-owned combine from Landmark, you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network, along with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running, reducing downtime. View inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear that new Honda manufacturing continues to go up, and you have new Hondas in stock now.
That's correct, Charlie. We have more than 40 new Hondas in stock right now. It's great that a customer can come in and buy a new Honda and drive it home that day. New Honda inventory keeps getting better each month.
Okay, then. How about used cars, Andy?
We have more than 100 pre-owned vehicles to choose from right now, and a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in daily. We have just about every maker model you can imagine in any price range.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pearson-Out.
All right, welcome back into the Don't Punt Hour. I am Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. You got the host as always, DeMornay Pearson-Out, DPE on the Allo VIP line as always, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. And again, if you guys ever want to join the show, 402-464-5685. We do got Drumstick shouting out, don't punt to DPE, all-time favorite punt returner at Nebraska. Shout out Drumstick for chiming in here, and feel free to do so for anyone else who wants to. But with that being said, let's talk a little bit of Husker football here. In some recent news, Huskers continue to build depth with the trenches. They got a transfer. Offensive lineman Micah Mazkua announces his transfer to Nebraska. He started every single game from Florida. He will be a fifth-year senior. This will be his last year at eligibility. But you're getting a veteran starter. Again, he started every single game for Florida outside of week 4. He had to sit that one out. But nonetheless, you're going to get a guy with a ton of experience coming from Florida, played solid ball. What's your thoughts on that, adding more depth to this Nebraska offensive line through the portal?
I like him. He was a guy who squared up with the dude from Tennessee, so I don't have no problem with that at all. I like the aggressiveness. You got to be a different type of somebody to square up with somebody in football pads. He didn't think about it. He rushed to a teammate, aid. So he's a team player. He's for the team. I don't got no problem with him. He's coming out of the SEC. I think anytime you can add, a veteran guy to a young group, they can be taught a lot. They can be, asked a whole lot of questions that they might not be comfortable with exactly with asking the coaches. I think you benefit a whole lot with adding, somebody who's played the position for 3-4 years on this level and can pass down some knowledge to help out, the younger group.
Yeah, and again, I'm right there with you. I think the experience is a real key part there, and he was very effective as a starter. He was rated pretty highly well out there at Florida. Hard to pick too many times where he was slipping up too much. So a good addition there. You got a veteran player on that interior right guard position, and who knows if they decide to move him around a little bit. But let's go through some of these other guys here that we're getting through the portal. We haven't really talked about it too much yet here on the Don't Punt Hour, but Dante Dowdell, 4-star, another 4-star. We're getting out of here for Nebraska. He transfers out of Oregon. I know Oregon fans were really sad to see him go. 4-star back with a ton of speed. What are you seeing in Dante Dowdell, and what do you think his impact can be on Nebraska?
I'm open. I like the pickup. As you said, he's a fast guy. I think he would do well in the offense. You got, the 4th-string guy coming back, which it's only just him. So, yep. I'm anxious to see, how he looks like in spring ball. I like his film a lot. I was impressed with him. The things that he brings to the table, him catching out of the backfield and whatnot. And, Oregon, they get those guys the balls in different type of situations and different types of places and everything like that. So it's always good to have an older running back who's again played a little bit, who's seen a couple of things and everything like that can help a young running back room and also kind of take the heat off the quarterback as well. So he's another outlet. You can swing him out. You can put him on angle routes, or you can line him up, out wide, have him coming on, unders or slants, and, he can catch the ball and do something with the ball. So I'm very excited about him.
Yep, he is a great receiving back. You got that right. I think that'll be really great. Just anytime you have a young quarterback in there, to have a reliable release valve, which I think we saw in Emmett Johnson what he can be. And now you got another guy in Dante Dowdell, where if you got to rotate both of those guys in, at any point in time where if they got to be a release valve, whether it's schemed to be that play or they just got to get rid of it and dump it off to the back, you trust both of those guys to do pretty well in those positions. We also got Isaiah Nayor. He is transferring from Texas, a 3-star, in Bly Hill, another 3-star. He's transferring from SFU at cornerback position. Out of those two guys, with the wide receiver room, I think Isaiah Nayor is going to be the more exciting one because I think that's a room we really need help. 3-star, he is projecting up, though. A lot of people are excited about him from Texas. What are you seeing out of the wide receiver transferring from Texas to Nebraska?
What year is he in?
Let me double check here. I think he might have a couple years left of eligibility. Let me double check for you real quick here. He is set to... Okay, excuse me while the screen's freezing on me.
He's kind of a speedster, right? So yes. I think he does well with complementing the room. Even with some of the young guys coming in that that can grow into that probably field receiver spot. You can kind of just from day one kind of toss him out there and know he's established and kind of can stand on his own. He'll be another reliable target. He's a little bit older than them, but still, he can still grow with, the younger receiver core in there. And not just, only looking to, the coach who is solely just, played quarterback. And this is kind of, he's a bit inexperienced of, understanding some of the things from a wide receiver to a quarterback perspective. Of course, he will have the quarterback to receiver perspective, but the young guys can pick on an older guy.
Yep, and he is a senior, so he is going to have that experience 100%.
Yeah, so they can pick his mind and ask him, how do you see things like this, or how do you see press, or if it's off, or, you know, if you're coming out of the huddle with understanding, you know, how do you recognize, you know, coverages better, or understand what a guy's trying to do to you. I mean, it's simple traits, you know, to the game where he can pass along.
Yep, and he's going to be in my opinion, some much needed depth in that wide receiver room. Not that I don't like the guys that are in there, but we just need some older guys in there. Add some more depth. We always talk about it. You want to be the Michigans, the Alabamas, the Georgias. It's depth on top of depth on top of depth. You can't just have some 5 and 4 stars. You got to have some guys underneath that. Even if they weren't 5 or 4 stars coming out of high school, you better develop them. It's pretty damn near close. So I think it's great to get some more added depth there. And while we're talking about depth, we didn't mention it, but you look at the Nebraska basketball rosters too. It's only K-State Tominaga and Josiah Alec, the seniors on the team. So you're reloading pretty much that entire roster for next season. I think a lot of people thought Rink Mass, this was like his kind of final 6-year senior type deal. No, he'll be back for another year as well. But as we're going on with this Husker football note, let's keep it in college football. Nick Saban retiring, just crazy news right off the bat there.
That might be some of the most shocking information that I've seen as far as with, you know, coaching changes in college football and in the pros. The two surprises, the one being him, and then the other one, you know, Vrabel, the Titans head coach, him getting fired.
I didn't like that. I thought Vrabel was a great coach. I thought he did everything he possibly could with the roster he was handed.
I don't. Coaches like that don't come along very often that can, you know, change, you know, the culture of what the Titans was. He made, you know, the Titans back relevant. I felt like they were a tough physical team. They gave, you know, the Chiefs a headache right along with Baltimore. Those were only, you know, a few teams that could really, you know, get a solid lick on, you know, the Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm shocked. I don't. Saban's resume speaks for itself, and I don't know if he's kind of doing, you know, what Urban did, with taking some time and gonna try and come back or go to the NFL. I don't know. There's nothing left for him to do more than obviously, you know, maybe win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but I mean,
he's had time in the NFL already.
I didn't expect that.
No, I think he's just done. I think he's 72 years old. He's had experience in the NFL. You know, like you said, what else is there to add to your resume? You're going to go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time in college football history. It is surprising. He was smart to kind of drop the news at 4 p.m. He could avoid the morning shows, but of course, these take a weeknight shows, we're going to definitely talk about it. But with Nick Saban retiring, it's pretty much confirmed now. AP News, multiple outlets got that tweeted out or written in an article in some form or fashion. Where do you see this Alabama program, if you just had to take a stab at it? Do you think they figure this thing out with their next hire? Do you think they're going to keep it inside? Maybe Nick Saban already kind of has a guy. He's been posturing that he's kind of known this for a while. How confident are you to Alabama to kind of land this jump moving on from Nick Saban, or Nick Saban moving on from them would probably be the better choice of words there. But what's your confidence level in Alabama being able to keep their relevancy, say, flash forward 3-4 years?
I'm not as scared of them, or they don't make me as nervous as they did with Saban. For sure, you know, they have, you know, as of right now, you know, some of the same coaches, and you can kind of build off of that. You can replicate, but you can't duplicate. I don't know who you get to fill that role. And regardless, even if, you know, Saban was, you know, grooming a guy, and I mean, you still have to go out there and show that you're still the same Alabama, even without Saban. I don't know what they look like without Saban. He expected, you know, a type of excellence, you know, a type of dedication, a type of will. You knew what you were getting. You knew if you go there and everything like that, you know, if you put the time and work and everything like that and take care of business, you know, you'll be playing on Sundays one day. And even before that, you know, walking off, you know, out of that campus a better person. I like Nick. I don't have anything bad to say about him, but as of right now, I'm not sure. You don't know if, a lot of those players that are there will hop in the transfer portal after something like that, or did they know? So that you kind of have to wait until, a coach get announced and then kind of see what they're doing for their spring game. But I'm not sure. They're not the same, and until they go out there and prove it and show that, they are still Alabama and they can be Alabama without Nick Saban attached to it. I'm not really too worried about, what they have there and everything like that with people, with the people and the coaches and the players coming back. They don't scare me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just his impact was immediate since day one. Year one at Toledo, he takes that team to a 9-2 record. Michigan State was probably his toughest tenure, 5 years, 34-24. LSU, 48-16. Alabama, 206 wins, 29 losses. Just an incredible record. And you just look at his last few years, and again, this is the scary part. It's what do you do to replace greatness? Here at Nebraska, we know it all too well how it can go south for you. But just 2023, yes, I understand they lose the Rose Bowl. 2022, they win the Sugar Bowl. 2021, they win the college football championship. Or excuse me, they lose it, but they win the Cotton Bowl to make it. 2020, they win it all. 2019, they win the Citrus Bowl. 2018, they lose in the championship. 17, they win it all. It's just championship or nothing. It's pretty much the standards for Alabama. I mean, you just go down the list, and it's Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, and college football national championship games. That's what the shoes you need to fill at Alabama, and a market that's more competitive than ever with NIL. I do wonder at 72 years old if that's adding to the reason why he's kind of just being done with it. I mean, to be a college football coach now, that's why you get paid millions of dollars. But with this new NIL era, you're recruiting around the clock. You're recruiting your own guys after they signed. So I'm kind of assuming that's probably where you look at his record, everything he's done. I don't really know how much higher you could possibly go unless you want to try to rattle off the next few national championships, but he's just done so much. The game's changed in his tenure while he's started coaching to what he's coaching now. The landscape is just completely different. I think he could adjust, but as you were saying before, what left is there for him to prove? Just one of the greatest coaches of all time in the college football game. It's going to be sad to see him go. Even if you're not a Crimson Tide fan, you can't deny Alabama. Just an incredibly impressive team to watch year in, year out.
I'm not sure, who. I mean, of course, Georgia. I feel like is the obvious.
Yeah, off his coaching tree
of the new heavyweight, and they've kind of been like that for the last 2 or 3 years. But coming out of their side, the other side, who takes the crown now? Is that Ole Miss, or you wait to see what Mississippi State might do? I don't know what that looks like.
Even Texas or Oklahoma side. When they hop in there, see if they can kind of try to become that new team.
Texas, I'm not sure.
I'm okay with that. I don't need him to be great, but
it's definitely one-sided. I think Georgia will definitely take off for the next 4 years to where I don't think anybody down there will really be able to touch them.
Yep, to me, it's going to be Georgia. If Jim Harbaugh decides to stay, I understand not in the SEC, but another powerhouse team. But like you said, it's going to be interesting. These are tough landings, and when you're going on from greatness to get that next hire, we're kind of seeing it in Ohio State. Ryan Day, he's not a bad coach, but that's how high the bar was. The bar was you never ever lose to Michigan, even though they're a good team. You don't lose to them. And Ryan Day, he's taken quite a few losses to Michigan already, and it's starting to show. So this is the tough part. When you're moving on from greatness, the margin of error for that new coach is super thin. And when it is super thin, you tend to fire coaches quicker with less hesitation. And that's how Nebraska happened. If you're being honest, that's kind of what happened. We changed it up. It wasn't what we wanted. We had higher expectations because that margin of error was so thin. We go on a litany of firing, hiring until we get to where we're at today with Matt Rule, and we still haven't made a bowl game since 2016. Not that I'm against Matt Rule, but that's kind of the slippery slope when it comes to moving on from greatness. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Bill Belichick. That hasn't been decided yet. There's a few other NFL coaches.
what happened out in Seattle. That one kind of shocked me too.
I want to talk about that one next because that's exactly where I was going. As we're talking about these great coaches, it's been a wild start to the year of 2024, at least in the sports world, and really across all media. If you're paying attention at all, it's been a nuts for 2024 start. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. We'll talk about some more coaches leaving the scene on the next segment. This is the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pearsonell on the Allo VIP line. I'm Harrison Arns at the 1040 Ticket Studios. Don't go anywhere.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
So he can maybe run. So like speed option, those things. All you want to do.
Speed. I can't see.
It's also. Oh, it's.
Uh-oh.
Look what you did. Look what you did. Look at Bill.
Down.
Come on
Just
now.
calm down.
I don't say anything about semicolons or should there be a parentheses or
Too many commas over there.
Too many
Come on.
run-on sentences. Don't talk about that. It's not my wheelhouse.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expected mainly sunny skies to start, then a chance of snow this afternoon. We'll see a high around 34. Tonight, a slight chance of snow early, then mainly clear skies. We'll see a low of around 11. And tomorrow, probably sunny skies to start, then snow likely in the afternoon. It'll be windy too. We'll see a high of around 17. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker fans, your fourth-ranked Nebraska wrestling team needs you to pack the Bob Devaney Sports Center on Friday, January 12th for their Big Ten home opener and a top 5 matchup against number 2 Iowa. The duel will begin at 6:30, and the first 300 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling shirt. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pearson.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pearsonell, as always, host of the show on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. As we're going through here on big coaches, some of the greatest coaches we've been able to witness, at least in our livelihoods. Nick Saban, gone. Rivera, whether you rank him as a great coach or not, gone. Another guy, I think surprised a lot of people, Pete Carroll. He will still be an advisor for the team, but will no longer be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. In multiple great seasons, got a Super Bowl under his belt as well. But just initial thoughts on, to me at least, surprising news: Pete Carroll will no longer be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
I need more information. What's going on to where you want to go in a different direction from Pete? Year in, year out. Majority of the time, they make, the playoffs. I don't understand. He's not a losing coach. You have a winning record. I don't know. He's still coaching at a high level. He's bringing in, talented players and whatnot. It's hard to not see Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, it's just baffling to me because he's doing a lot with the roster, in my opinion, isn't all that impressive. Like, yes, they have some guys, but when you look across the talent level in the NFL as a whole, everyone's got some studs out there. But Geno Smith, I think he's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. And you just look at his years. He went 9-8 in 2023, 2022, 9-8. 2021, one of the rougher seasons, 7-10. But the years before that, 12-4, 11-5, 10-6. And like you said, just winning season after winning season for the Seattle Seahawks. I was pretty surprised they're willing to move on from Pete Carroll, because he's a guy, kind of in my opinion, the same esteem I'd give to a guy like Mike Tomlin. I'd give Pete Carroll obviously a little more for winning a Super Bowl, but those are just two coaches that they're going to put out a good team that's worth paying money to go out and watch. So to see them fire Pete Carroll was really surprising for me, at least. I thought that's a guy that you'd want to keep around. You give him better players, I think you get more wins. I think you go further in the playoffs. I think you have more chances for Super Bowls, but they didn't want to go with that route. Do you think they have their eyes on the next candidate already? Do you have any guesses on who they'd want to name the next head coach?
If I'm them, I'm going to give Vrabel.
Yeah.
I think if you to bring back the style of football that Pete Carroll established there, with the Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vrabel will bring that type of intensity to where you and with their conference, with you with the physical 49ers, you're with an elusive LA Rams team, and then you got the Cardinals that aren't really much of anything. I think if you go after, Titans' old head coach, I think that will be dominant for them. I think he'll, give them a shot of adrenaline. I think their defense will be excellent, and they have pieces on defense.
Mm-hmm.
On the offensive side, it's not terrible. They got a decent running back. They got a good tight end, and really 3 good receivers. So I mean that's not a terrible place to go. But again, whoever they bring in, you got some big shoes to fill. That's not an easy job to go into, and and they're expecting, to win. They're expecting, to compete, or closely, or in NFC championships or Super Bowls. So that's a tough place to go up there and try to, change the culture or try something new. I'm still in shock with them letting Pete go, and I'll be surprised if he takes another job somewhere else.
I'm with you there. I think Vrabel would be a great hire. I think Jim Harbaugh is obviously the one that a lot of people are going to be curious to see if he does go to the NFL. But I think Vrabel, he's going to be the same thing that you'd get in a guy like Jim Harbaugh, bringing that aggressive intensity.
He's the hottest coach, honestly. So I think Harbaugh. I think it's either the Chargers or the Raiders. If the Raiders can't get Harbaugh, I mean, the obvious choice is AP. I don't even. I did that. That's without a doubt. But I mean, if you're Harbaugh looking to take over, an organization, honestly, the Chargers is probably about the closest thing. You got all the pieces on defense, all the pieces on offense. You just get, a guy in there that can pull everything together and look out. On paper, they're a Super Bowl contending team. On paper.
Yep, and it's going to be interesting to watch as the coaching carousel continues to go around, and Eberflus is staying. The Chargers might be a good spot. Jim Harbaugh, very complimentary of Herbert, so who knows if that's where he ends up going. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the Don't Punt Hour. DeMornay Pearsonell, shout out to the host as always on the Allo VIP line. I'm Harrison, back at the 1040 Ticket Studios, but don't go anywhere. We got the Wide World of Wrath up next. The show is back, at least for tonight, that is. So be sure to stay tuned in. DeMornay Pearsonell, I appreciate it as always. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
To the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty.